Greetings, everyone. This is Rock and Roll Spectrum Mansion with the weekly comic book roundup. We've covered the oversized one shot for the week, and now it's time to get to the multi-book videos. Kicking these off, we've got Legion of X number 10. Where we left off, Nimrod had, with an assist from the Phalanx, managed to infiltrate Krakoa. Namely by piggybacking programming on through the Phalanx, which was able to connect with Warlock, and basically turning Krakoa into a master mold for organic sentinels. Meanwhile, Nightcrawler was dealing with a bit of a plight going around with mutants, generally those with more obvious physical mutations, and had discovered that his surrogate mother was somewhat at the heart of the whole thing, and she had basically sold out mutant kind to Orcus. Also, Xavier was visiting the altar and had seemingly done, something to his son Legion. So we kick things off. The astral plane is in chaos, and Xavier sees what's coming and realizes that maybe doing what he did to Legion was a bad idea. We get a excerpt from his journal about what it is Legion's done, or that not Legion, but Xavier has done, referred to as the Daedalus contingency, and it's basically a means of neutralizing David's power. So, back on Krakoa, the what are they called? Are they giving him a name beyond? Banshee, now the Spirit of Variance, as well as Juggernaut and Lost, we're dealing with the organic master mold. The implant that Juggernaut was given to so as not to forget me not, had fallen out, and Lost discovered it, put in her ear, and remembered having dinner with Forget Me Not, and Forget Me Not was able to contact her telepathically, and they explained and he explained what needed to be done. They need a way to get inside, but it seems that it's blocked off. So, the Spirit of Variance opts to, for a brief moment, return to being a Spirit of Vengeance, and while a Spirit of Vengeance needs a steed, a rider, as it were, who needs a steed. Back in Germany, Nightcrawler has given in to more savage instincts, and Black Knight, Jax, is gravely injured, as is Pixie, and while Dr. Nemesis is trying to figure out the last digit of pi, and there's still some of the Orcus soldiers left. But Kurt is convinced to attack them as well. Xavier undoes the Daedalus contingency, allowing Legion to take on the Astral Phalanx form, while Mother Righteous watches. and is not happy with the fact that Legion is willing to, at least for the moment, accept help from his father. Also, she's not happy that the spirit of variance has briefly become a spirit of vengeance once again. Our legionnaires managed to make it inside the spire, the Babel spire, and Warlock is calling for help, basically asking to be ended because he's kind of at the heart of the whole thing. Explains this to Doug, but well, the relationship between Doug and Warlock is they're basically they're in the physical sense they're not one of the same being, but in a more spiritual and emotional sense they are. But Forget-Me-Not is able to get close enough and does what Warlock has asked, which causes an explosion within the Babel Spire and destroying it. But Warlock's dead. And Juggernaut kind of like being the steed of the spirit of variance. As they leave where the Babel Spire had been growing out of, Law states that no one died, though Forget-Me-Not's skull is seen in the foreground. There's a communication log of the final moments of the Babel Spire. Nightcrawler's surrogate mother manages to basically pull a piece. It's not basically makes not a soul sword, but a similar weapon, a hope sword. And before leaving, the Mother Righteous comes to Nightcrawler and offers him a deal. That, to refill the void from where the Hope Sword was pulled. As she asks what it's worth to Nightcrawler to do so, she removes her mask finally, and we see that underneath, while her skin is red, and there are obvious facial markings. The most important marking when she pulls her mask off is a white heart in the center of her forehead. And that is where the issue ends. I have to admit, I did not see Mother Righteous being the fourth Sinister. But there we are. But yes, at this point, all four of the Sinisters have been revealed. Of course, Mr. Sinister that we know, and but that's Diamond. Oh crap! What? Dr. Stasis is the club. Orbis Stellaris is a spade, and, well, Mother Righteous is the heart. Moving on now to our next book, we've got X-Force number 37. Where we left off, an attempt had been made to track down Xeno, and it seemed as though Xeno was playing into Krakoa's hands with it. Beast and Sage are trying to track the egg that they allowed Zeno to get a hold of, and something's off. Something's not. It's not. The tracker seems to not be working. Inside the point, Omega Red is staring at a piece of the wall. Um, but Domino has a plan. She explains that she reminded everyone that, what Zeno put her through, and adding that she asked those memories be edited out. And she thinks that maybe if she got those memories back, that maybe she could track down. Maybe she'd be able to help find Zeno. Meanwhile, the man with the peacock tattoo is escorting his young mutant son Max, who I wrongly thought was a clone of Quentin Quire, but turns out that young Max has some rather powerful psychic abilities, and there are things he wants to know of his father. He ends up getting mixed thoughts that don't sync up with what he says. So he wants to know the truth. And we learn the past of the man with the peacock tattoo. Domino does manage to get her memories back from the time that she was tortured by Zeno. But so the man with the peacock tattoo grew up on an isolated island, isolated spot on an unspecified island, unspecified for the moment at least. It was remote and there were various bits of flora and fauna that only thrived in that area. But it turns out he was a clone of his father. Some were more successful than others, and he would often have them help with his work. We also note within Domino's memories is Mikhail making a deal with the man with peacock tattoo, and the man with peacock tattoo said he has a lab in Genosha, which leads Domino to state that he's in Genosha. But there was one point where the man with the peacock tattoo was helping, was in class, so to speak. That's what his father would tell the clones when they would help with the lab work. Also there were the man with the peacock tattoo's actual sons. Something went wrong though, and the child who is now the man with the peacock tattoo basically blew up in his face. But he managed to escape, and we learn that he's a clone of the Genosian jet engineer. And a logbook explains that the jet engineer. The basic idea is making a singular mutant with not the idea that mutation is chaotic. And the idea is to make a mutant that is basically all the powers. But X-Force rise in Genosha. They're attacked by something. What appears to be much larger versions of the nesting assassins. But Max runs away, realizing that there's a problem. The man with peacock tattoo is only looking upon him as a son, until, well, he no longer serves his purpose. Also, Max is revealed to be the baby that was stolen from Krakoa a while back. But one of the more successful trials of making a mutant with all the powers is let loose. So it seems to have a combination of powers from Beast, Colossus, Wolverine, and Omega Red. That is where the issue ends. Okay, I now completely get why Xeno and Orcus haven't combined forces with Xeno. Madeline Peacock Tattoo is trying to make a mutant with all the powers, whereas Orcus is much more focused on ridding the world of mutants in general. Moving on, though, to our next book, we've got Bloodline, Daughter of Blade #1. Kind of self-explanatory to cover. So, we get a little bit of Brielle's past. When she was younger, she was at the point where she was really into sports. Her mom was more than happy to take her to practice, take her to games. But Brielle stumbled upon a picture of her mother with a man named Eric, who is revealed to be her father. Yes, it's Blade. So, in the present, Brielle and her mother are speaking to the guidance counselor at Brielle's school. He's concerned about the fact that Brielle has dropped all of her extracurriculars, but Brielle's mom points out, are her grades, asks very pointedly, are her grades slipping? Has she been a problem? And, well, no, she hasn't. So the two of them go to lunch after this, and they're attacked in the evening by a vampire. Brielle kills the vampire by staking it, pointing it, and Brielle's mom agrees to begin telling her about who she is and everything. At school the next day, there's a new student brought in named Whitney. Just transferred from New Orleans. Her dad's job caused him to move around a lot. But that night, Brielle goes to a house that she's pretty sure is a nest for vampires. Continues to make her way through, but she's not alone. She's attacked by somebody else. The two of them fight, both accusing the other of being a vampire, though they both state they're not. And Brielle's assailant is revealed to be Whitney, the new student. Elsewhere, Blade is dealing with a bunch of vampires. A plane arrives, sent by T'Challa, and, Blade's got family stuff to take care of. And that is where the issue ends. Alright, good start. I like the idea of another Blade. Basically a new a Blade spin-off character. It's a neat concept. I like it. Moving on, though, to our next book, we've got Moon Knight #20. Where we left off, Moon Knight had managed to take down the structure, and a former associate of Moon Knight was talking with Zodiac. But turns out that members of Moon Knight's Shadow Cabinet are being systematically killed. So far, 4 of them have been taken down by the same pair of assassins. Hunter's Moon discovers it's now 5, though. Tigra has rescued 1. Moon Knight's headed to Dr. Plesko's place. Though shortly upon his arrival, or shortly before his arrival, it blows up. But Reese asks to talk to Jake. And fun point, when even when he's not driving a cab, and out about primarily as Jake, if he's even just talking on the phone with someone as Jake, Mark still puts on the mustache. But Reese says, okay, think about the locations of all the killings. See the route. And he gets it. But he's able to, he comes upon the two assassins, takes a picture and sends it to 8-Ball of all people. But Moon Knight's able to take down the assassins, known as the Harlequin twins, and they're being he takes them to his psychiatrist, has his psychiatrist look after them. They claim they're being instructed by the ghost in the telephone, but they're determined. The two are basically brainwashed, and will be turning them over to the police. That is where our A story is. We've got a backup story featuring Blade. In the present, Moon Knight asks a favor of Blade. Back in the summer of 77, Blade was in Inwood in New York City and came upon the Fist of Khonshu, a woman named Nisi. They worked together to take down some vampires who were profiting off of the fires happening at the time. And once that's done with, Nisi turns her attention to Blade, and Blade manages to talk her down, saying, "Hey, look, I'm trying to destroy vampires too, And for helping him, he owes her a favor. But Nisi says, no, I can't take the favor. The favor is for Khonshu, or at least his fist. But Blade says that Khonshu didn't help; his fist did. So the debt is then, okay, it's for the fist. But Moon Knight explains to Blade what's going on. Explains what's going on with Reese, and Blade's like, okay, fine, I'll help. No pushback or anything. But he simply explains that when he's called on, Blade explains that he owed a favor to a Fist of Khonshu, a righteous one. And that is where the issue ends. I gotta say, I would not entirely be opposed to Marvel beginning to do what DC does with having backup stories in their books regularly. Maybe not all of them, but even if it ends up making a book cost $1 extra, well, hey, if it's longer, then okay, all right. Moving on, though, to our last book for the moment, we've got Silver Surfer, Ghostlight, #1. So, this is kicking off a new Silver Surfer miniseries. A young girl named Tony is having dreams of a shiny green man. Anyways, her parents are going out to dinner. She's supposed to be keeping an eye on her little brother and their grandmother. The little brother and grandmother are listening to blues music together. They live in Sweetwater, New York. They've just moved there. Turns out that the house they live in belonged to the mom's brother, who disappeared about a decade ago, and has just recently been declared dead. But Tony tells her grandmother about the dreams she's having, and she gets a degree of advice. But then grandma's got to go to bed. Her and her little brother first off look into something known as the Sweetwater Gap, an entire day where everyone in the town forgot what happened. But excuse me. Tony and her little brother look all over the house trying to get some clue about their uncle. But there's a shed outside, which their mom insists they leave alone. They get in and manage to find and open a hidden door, which leads to a lab. Uh, Tony's brother touches one of the machines that's being worked on. Sends a massive column of energy up into the air through the ground. This attracts the attention of the Silver Surfer, as well as a place in Arizona that's monitoring such otherworldly energy signatures. But they follow Tony and her brother follow the light show and brings them to a clearing about 100 yards or so into the forest where nothing grows. And the Silver Man that Tony keeps seeing in her dreams erupts forth from the ground. Turns out it's her uncle. But then the Silver Surfer shows up asking who dares disturb the resting place of Al Harper, hero and trusted friend of the Silver Surfer. And that is where the issue ends. Getting out to a strong start. I do have to wonder about Al's powers and the source thereof. Perhaps if he's an ally to the Silver Surfer, perhaps kind of some bleeding off power cosmic. Anyway, that is going to do it for now. As always, feel free to like, share, and subscribe. Links to my Facebook, Twitter, Patreon, and PayPal can be found in the description box down below. This is Rock and Roll Spock signing off saying, live long and rock hard.